Test name. All right. Welcome to Section 31, episode number 332. I'm Dan Hammond.
And I'm Rogue Schindler.
No guests this week. However, we did have a local event that Sir Rogue attended, so we'll get a rundown on that. We'll take a peek at some of the cards that have been spoiled over the last couple of days and probably chat about some Mako fun and Borg nonsense. And I will start with that. So the last two 1E tournaments that you and I attended, we went, well, you took first and I took second. So did you complete your streak of winning your third in a row?
Well, you weren't there to back me up at second place, so I was unable to claim the victory, unfortunately. Johnny just totally space line screwed me and took the third win I needed away from me. But we had a good time. We had four. We did round robin, and everybody was playing some interesting decks, and had a lot of fun. I went in with a trio of cards that I had not played before, and a deck that I don't think I played, or at least if I have, I haven't done it in a long time. Looking at that 50 set, the 50th anniversary, and I went with the something Peace Talks, Elaborate Peace Talks, Mediate Peace Talks,
Okay.
Summon Peace Talks. And but that was actually pretty fun. I played the Klingon Federation movie treaty guys. I think I played them like splashed in with TOS, but I don't think I've ever played them on their own. So it was a lot of fun to get they got to protect the timeline now, and reunite legends was cool, and the deck that I stole and modified and probably screwed up was Facilitate Peace Talks. That's the one. Had a really cool trick where I'm assuming it was supposed to do this based on the cards I saw. The Reunite Legends lets you download a ship right away, as long as it's a motion picture ship. And he had started with evaluate ship systems, which is a great help for the crappy motion pictures era ships that need all the help they can get. So using Reunite Legends to pull out the Excelsior, you start with a ship right away, and the deck has one test mission in it, and it starts with Facilitate Peace Talks already seated on a mission. The deck uses all mission 2s, or 3 mission 2s, no actual outpost. So Reunite Legends technically is seated on a mission that has an outpost on it. So you start with 3 cards right away that help boost your Evaluate Starship systems. So that take gives that, I think it's a 655 or 656. Excelsior becomes a 989, which is great. That's Enterprise level, Enterprise D level. So all of a sudden you have a ship that can actually go places. And I threw in Sulu and some Plaque and Ready Room Door, and the deck had not a ton of ships, but a lot of quick access to ships. That time location lets you play TMP ships for free. They had some universal ships with a space door to get those out going, because their range is so crappy, you really need to have a lot of ships to get around the space line. And that Excelsior with the evaluation systems was really nice to have to get going. So since it does have prototype in the lore, you can go ahead and play it on that and get going around. So that was fun. Unfortunately, while the deck has so it had the Office of the President, Hall of Warriors, no, Great Hall, so the 2 headquarters, Protect the Timeline on Kittimer. So you've got 4 potential free plays plus your card play. and you know, it was a 40 card deck and I was finding almost immediately that I was burning through. You know, you weren't getting all the plays. I wasn't drawing enough cards to be able to use all the card plays that I was getting. It just really needed some draw engine action, and I didn't find the mission specialists especially necessary to the deck. So because it's such a good card and it seemed to work so well in so many other decks, I threw in Study Divergent History, and I swapped out my mission specialists for mirror mission specialists. And I had this great plan where, because the one draw engine that was in the deck was the new processor, and there's only one. There's 2 homeworld missions and Kittimer, so you have to play it at Kittimer, which is fine. It's a great place to put it. You got a lot of people there. I was like, that's awesome. If I have that there, and I have Study Divergent History there, and I can have like 4 guys, and 2 of them have geology, and I'm like drawing 4 cards a turn. This is brilliant.
Yeah.
So, except that that doesn't work. That doesn't play there. Study Divergent History has to play on a mirror ship, because I was all excited thinking I would have, I could download it. I don't know. Somewhere I skipped a logic step of getting it to that location. I don't know if I thought I was going to have it on the Excelsior,
right,
or if I thought I was going to be able to play it at the time location, but it has to be at like a site or
guest quarters, the attendant's quarters, your mirror ship, or a headquarters.
Yeah. So I did have a headquarters, luckily. I actually took out the Office of the President to make room because I only had like 3 cards that reported for free there. I think there were 6 that reported the hall, and I really needed the draw engine. So it unfortunately ended up going on the Great Hall, which sometimes was okay and sometimes was less okay. And my first game was against Thomas, and it was relatively close. He was playing Bajoran Station, so 5 of his 6 missions were clumped together in the Bajor region, so most of my stuff was together. Still meant I had to have, you know, half again as many resources devoted to drawing cards, because I needed to have my Geo people over here, and I need to have my mirror people studying history with 2 other people over here. Just to get card draws, but it was still really fast that if I could get it going early, having those card draws helped enough that it picked up really quickly, because I could get, you know, probably four guys on the regular, if not the 5, and that actually proved ended up being what saved me against Thomas, because he was apparently playing the pious Bajoran facade, and behind it was an evil, aggressive, reclusive, reactionary, anti-alien circle person who was like waiting and dropped scouting counter and 2 Renick Pyres on my Excelsior and damaged it after hitting a previous damage, the really good Star Trek 6 dilemma that lets you flip once. Luckily, he only got to flip once because he didn't have an objective in his discard pile for points, or in his point pile. I don't know if he knew it or not, but it looked like all of his tactics were 30%, because the Bajoran phasers are that. And I don't know if I just got lucky and got a bunch of 30s, or if he actually was playing with a deck full of 30s. But he flipped once and then attacked me and flipped 2 more, and I got 30, 30, 30. And I was like, like making the best of a bad situation. You know, only 2 people die instead of everyone. So I lost one opponent's choice to that, and then 2 flips got 2 random kills. So I got to go wee all the way home, and then get on another ship before he came. And I thought about piling on and blowing up his little scout ship, but it would have been I think a waste of a turn, and all my guys would have been stopped, and that ended up being like the penultimate turn where I got enough points to keep him off. We were both setting up so much that we ended up timing out, but I saw him right before this. He used We Need You Here, one of the lesser known functions of it, where you can send an officer to the office and download a captain's order.
Sure.
Or maybe that's on another card.
Download a site to the station. Isn't that right on the site?
Or is it on the site? Maybe that's it. But you have to download it to hand. Yeah, I think that might be right on the commander's office. So because he had to go to hand and he had already used his card play that turn, because he had to walk a guy over to get it.
Okay.
And so he's like, "Oh, I'll go get Captain's Log," and I was like, "Hey, hey now, peaceful, neutral zone right here. Along Cardassia is our buffer right here between the Bajor region and the Federation. Let's not get overly excited." So once I saw that come out, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go get a log of my own after getting attacked. So that was interesting, and it sounds like it had some adverse effects against his opponents later in the day, because all I could hear about was Johnny going on about the buzzsaw that he hit running up against Thomas in space. I guess Thomas had been mixing up his dilemmas a bit between players, depending on what he thought worked and didn't work. And Johnny got hit with some combination of something: disgraceful assault and another dilemma that damaged a second ship. And then he came over with a third ship and hit, I think it was fast ship would be nice, to kill somebody that he needed to get past Gomtu, and then Gomtu was the fourth dilemma, and just wiped out his armada.
Yeah.
Damaged the third ship and destroyed the other two. But yeah, it was. It sounds like I was lucky to play Thomas first while we were both figuring out our decks, and I had a little bit, quicker on the draw with my deck to get past. Yeah, face to face was a good one. That's right. Johnny hit face to face, and they were tied. So that
ship is damaged and stopped until the end of next. Oh, because I would imagine this was before anybody scored any points, so it was 0-0.
Exactly.
Yikes! All right.
Yeah, it's funny that he was using this, because I actually used head to head, and I was playing motion picture dilemma achievement, and so I was, which was not bad, some good stuff, but it was trying to get combos to work. I threw that first two, hoping that it would go under the most likely to be first mission, and hit it while we were still tied, so you get 2 kills and a stop until your next turn. But didn't quite work out. So a timed win against Thomas, because we were still figuring stuff out, thanks to the timeline. Unfortunately, Johnny was also playing in the Alpha Quadrant, and we mixed it up. He was playing Ferengi TNG, and we played each other in the second round, and my space line was just all over the place. I had Kronos far away from Kittimer, so I ended up just having to get a few people there and sit. Those people I never had the option of getting them back. They had to be my draw engine with the mission specialist, and then Kittimer was half a space line away, so we had to go and do that. Fortunately, Johnny never seemed to really get. I mean, I did cross over where his outpost was, but he never seemed to really get the idea to come over and beat me up, which is kind of always in the back of my mind watching that, the military operations go. And we got to the end when time was called, and he just kept holding me off, and he had hit 91 points, and I was at 82, which ended up being the final. But I went first, and so he was trying to look back and forth because he had to go way over to this side. He was in the middle, and I was on either side, and he had to go way over here to get to a mission or way over there to go to a mission. And I was like, well, you can attack me for 5 points. It's like, yeah, but then I don't know where to get the other 4 points. and the 3 guys I put on a ship to go attack you are going to end up having the skills that I need over here to actually get through the mission. So he ended up opting to go with that. He had one download that he had not used yet on a ship, which he kept almost using and going, wait, no, I can do this during a mission attempt. I shouldn't use this yet.
With the Kurt on?
Yes, with the Kurt on.
Yep.
And so he took that over, and he ended up, he killed 4 guys back, just enough to do the mission on a separate ship, 1 mission away, so they didn't get blown up somehow. And then like 16 guys come over and pile on the planet mission. But while they did get through, I think it was just some filters in front, they got hit. He ran up against executive authorization it was my last dilemma, and I vividly remember about a third of the way through the game him pitching his TNG Quark without having downloaded the pad. And we basically had to sit there and go through his 16-person crew and then his like 40-card deck, looking through the lore of every personnel to see if any of them were like president of the financial guild or, governor, chairman of something, and just, there was nothing left. So, and then there was some moderate discussion about whether or not executive authorization is too powerful or too difficult for them. Like, you had a card right there that got you past it. You just didn't get the pad. So many affiliations only have one card on that list.
Yeah, certainly. I mean,
so
pad is a way to go for sure.
Yeah. So that was a tough break, but I mean, he got the win, and it was, I would have liked to have gone another round or two with that, because it was pretty close. We were neck and neck, and I just, with that locking him out of that mission, he would have had to go back to the other end of the space line, and I had 2 right near me that I could have started hammering on. So would have been an interesting game to finish. But with that, that meant that I beat Thomas, and Thomas beat Johnny, and Johnny beat me. And poor Charlie tried ever so hard to crown a new emperor, but just was not in the cards for him. And it was interesting. I think he was using the tournament as sort of a, I don't know, what do you call it, like a scientific study of that deck archetype, because it sounded like he was trying different ways of getting through each of those objectives as he was moving through it to see, what worked and what didn't and what was more efficient. And I know there's been a lot of, certainly within our play group, some question about whether or not that deck, is feasible or not, if it doesn't, if it works well enough to be really competitive, or if it's just a waste of time to try and sit and get those things going. But we had a good time playing, and he's the one who inspired me to have played the motion pictures deck, so we had a good time looking through. So after that, as he put it, Thomas curb stomped him. And then I was able to keep him from going to his homeworld. He did manage to get through the third objective before I was able to solve a mission, but that left the other 3 of us in that 3-way tie. And because Thomas had the 2 full wins, and I had a timed win against Thomas, and Johnny had a timed win against me. That meant that Thomas took the day. So it was good. It was a good tournament. We had a lot of fun. I was super excited. Theme points, because it's hard to not get into it thematically, at least for me. Playing this deck, this deck archetype, using the motion picture dilemmas, I was very pleased against Charlie to have him hit my theme combo, because I put one of my combos was actually 3 Star Trek 4 dilemmas in chronological order. So that was fun. And as I was building it, I was like, man, I wonder if I could do a combo for each movie and do 1 through 6. And I almost tried it. And then as I was going through, there's only 2 dilemmas from Star Trek V, and one of them is a Passionate Vulcan, which isn't super useful for my deck. So I had to abandon that. Plus, there's so many good dilemmas from First Contact that it's hard not to take advantage of that. But I think that might be in the future. I'm going to keep an eye on that, because that would be a lot of fun to have that theme. And in keeping with the 50th anniversary, using new cards from that, I was super excited because I planned it ahead and did it, and it worked. I had Maltz on my ship when I hit Joey Chu.
So he was the one that beamed you up?
So he did.
That is awesome.
Which was awesome, and it almost didn't work. I was so psyched about that part that I forgot that Thomas had killed my only anthropology, so I had to use a ship download to get Decker and have him come down and save the day. So he beamed down to beam up. Got to beam up to beam down.
Nice.
But that was my theme points extravaganza for the day. I was excited to have Maltz, Joey Chu.
How many people did anybody hit your exact change? I still haven't used it yet.
Speaking of exact change, no, Charlie thought about it, like he was working out how to do it, and then he realized he had an attribute bonus that was pumping everybody up, and then he was like, well, I could do that, I don't want, and he was like, screw it, just stop people. But I was bummed because Johnny's really smart.
Did he send down exactly 50?
No, he himself was actually using exact change, and when I hit his, I was one guy away, and I had the guy in my hand. So I briefly was like, oh, well, I'll choose to be stopped. I'll play this guy, and then I'll have it. That'd be awesome. I will have exact change.
Right. Except
he seeded Kobayashi Maru on top of it.
Oh, so someone else is going to disappear?
Yeah.
Wow, that is going to be impossible to plan for getting exactly 50 with someone randomly disappearing.
Yep. So I was at least pleased that I recognized that in time to go, well, I'm never going to be able to get this, using the exact change. So just go ahead and stop people and let's move forward. So I didn't waste the turn on that. But man, that was a brutal combo. And he had, I guess and I can understand why, the follow-up card to that was not Spatial Rift, the really good dilemma from Voyager that got eroded. It was banned for a while and it was eroded.
Yeah. Not Spatial Rift?
Is it Spatial Rift? I thought.
Spatial Rift.
Spatial Rift. I was thinking Temporal Rift. Spatial Rift, and I guess he still thought that you were stopped by the first half, which was part of which was actually what got eroded.
Right.
But that's what the DRG says still.
Oh, the Dilemma Resolution Guide has not been updated for the eroded version of Spatial Rift. Yeah. That's an interesting note. Okay.
So, but I was like, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, there's nothing in this wording wording that clues me that you have to be stopped. You know, it doesn't say unless, you know, it says if. So that's a bad thing that happens to you, but then to get past, you have to have that. So you get to move on, and this is an eroded card, so I feel like if it was rotted, then, you know, previously on a Decipher level card, I would have been like, okay, well, sure, there's some weird question as to how it's going to be resolved because none of it was ever consistent. But if it's an eroded card that we put out, then the wording should be as worded. You know, that's we know how to construct the wording now. We've established a consistent level. So
one would think,
you know, at least whether or not we've been successful, that's been the goal. And so I'm going to go with an eroded card based on what the card says. And so, you know, and that was right. It was just something, but oh my God, if you imagine that as it was with the Kobayashi Maru in front.
Oh, so you're losing everybody. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
So, oh man, that was potentially brutal. Luckily, I had some pretty strong attribute characters. But yeah, that exact change with the Kobayashi on top was just, it's like, no, that's inspired. You're going to have to, it's going to force you to go with the 2 stops, which was kind of what I was hoping for with my combo. So that, you know.
Yeah, 2 choice stops is pretty good.
Yeah. Really render you hopefully helpless to whatever follows. But yeah, some good combos, some really exciting, interesting uses of new cards that I had not seen before. So that was a lot of fun. And using some old cards that I hadn't used in a while. I'm still bitter about V'ger. Everybody's like, oh, V'ger, oh my God, V'ger. But all 3 of my opponents walked right through it. Now, granted, Thomas scanned it first, getting it out of the way.
What was Science Lab?
Yep.
Nice.
And he had Quark sitting there. It's like,
oh, right. Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'll put Quark on a ship and he'll go out and see what's going on there. I'm like, yeah, have 5 points, thanks.
Well, that'll be more risky in the future.
Yeah. So that was a dud, but it was fun playing with those, and I was very excited to have that promo Medical Crisis. So you have a quality card for that achievement now.
That's right. So the volunteer promo.
Yeah. So that was a nice addition to that. Otherwise, to that a limited pool. Nice to have a solid backup there.
Yeah, I like the idea of retheming things like dilemmas to different properties to add to make that different card pools. I thought about retheming things with the Voyager icon means you can play it in the Voyager only format. Retheming them for DS9 means you can play them in that old that format that we used to play. Remember that?
Oh yeah, Dominion War.
Dominion War. That was an entertaining format. And now that the DS9 block and mirror blocks have wrapped up, that might be a fun thing to look back on and see if see if we might put something together for that.
Yeah, that'd be great. That was a nice.
Remind me, that was DS9, Dominion,
First Contact, and Rules.
What about like it wasn't Insurrection available, or was that just we just used that mission because?
Oh, you mean as a? Yeah, I think it was the movie era, TNG movie era. So First Contact. I guess there was no Nemesis at the time. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that would be fun to look back on and see if we can do something with with the property logos on that. That would be fun. It's been a while. Boy, it has been a long time. Look back on just see what. Man, I remember I played Earring of Lee Nalas a lot, but I don't remember much of anything else. All right, cool. Well, it sounds like it was a good day.
Yeah, we had fun. We were able to get 3 runs done. and enjoy the day and still have a good evening left. So all in all, it's a lot of fun, and I'm we're starting to. The schedule is going to be regular now. Charlie's announced, he's putting the things on the schedule. So 2 weeks we're going to have 2E, and then 2 weeks after that we'll have 4E. 4E? No, we'll have 4 weeks after that we'll have
It's
1E.
exponential. First edition, second edition, fourth edition,
16th edition.
Yeah, very good.
So, yep, looking forward to that. I already have an idea. If I don't get Broken Dough printed, I had an idea looking at cards building this deck I want to do, but I can't figure out a good way to get my ship out first turn. If I can do that, then I will totally be all over it. I was going to construct Starship. I was all set to construct Starship, but I can't. I still have to get the captain out.
Yeah.
And I just can't find a reliable way of doing that, aside from putting a bunch of them in there, in which case I just put a bunch of the ship in.
Okay. Well, I guess that narrows it down a little bit in that it's not a ship that you can seed or get easily in the first turn, so it's not a movie era ship. It's not an Enterprise.
No, it'd be DS9 property logo limited. So it's reshape the quadrant.
Uh-huh.
Which has no Universal Federation ships that can be Dom Perignoned. Yeah. So.
Oh, I was gonna say you can get the Galaxy and then change to the Odyssey. That's not gonna work.
Yeah, there's no matching commanders that have security and engineer. Because that would be crazy.
There's a 2E Cisco, but he doesn't have the DS9 icon.
If I'm willing to construct my starship in the Gamma Quadrant, I could get Emissary Cisco, who has officer and security, but then he gains engineer in the Gamma Quadrant.
Right.
Or I could defend Homeworld for him and then persona swap for Engineer Cisco, which means I would have already had him in my hand, which means I could have just played him and then constructed my starship.
Yes. Right. Well, that's right out. Can't you just download the Defiant the first turn with your station?
Not if I don't command a station.
Interesting.
Not if the card I want to use would be nullified if I control a Nor.
Right. All right. There's no Universal Defiant. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, the Defiant is the Universal Defiant.
Yeah, clearly
it's not universal.
Clearly, that should have been a Universal ship from the beginning, because that's the ship, the class registry.
That's right.
All right. Well,
although in looking through that, I did realize there are a lot of interesting ships that do have prototype that you could use with evaluate starships, like the Galaxy or the Intrepid. So if you wanted to, you could dump those out, with a space door first turn, in a deck that would support that, which is not the deck I'm looking for, and have that. So that was pretty cool. My opinion of that card is improved.
Ship trait prototype, I guess. Is that something we can search by?
It's in the lore, so you just search by prototype in the lore.
There's a checkbox. So
is it really? Oh, cool.
Pegasus, Apnex.
Yeah.
Prometheus. Enterprise. Nice.
Oh, that's right. NX-01 is a prototype.
And the ISS is a prototype as well. Fascinating. All right, brilliant. Man, now I'm looking at cards that are linked to other cards in my head because of cards we're working on for future sets, and I'm very good. All right, let's shut this down then.
All right, that's all the intelligence we have for this week. Thanks everybody for coming out this weekend. Johnny and Thomas and Charlie had a great time. Hoping to see everybody in 4 weeks. If you're interested in 2E, that'll be in 2 weeks. I will be in not be in. No, it won't be in Florida yet. Getting ready to go to Florida, but we'll actually be at Petco Park. So, in any case, I will not be available. So
that's the game we're going to see the Giants and the.
that is.
All right.
That's right.
Well, I guess I'll be missing that one as well. I'll have to get some intelligence from someone who was there.
That's right. We'll get a report and let you know. In the meantime, I am Sir Rogue.
And I'm Sir Dan.
And I will remind you all to expand your power in the universe.
And I will draw to